welcome to another episode of the Big Womening podcast. Episode 5 already, like this is crazy. The Big Womening podcast is all about life, love, and becoming a big woman. And when we're saying big woman, when we're referring to a big womaning, I'm not talking about size necessarily, unless you want it to. I'm talking about women who are growing in themselves, women who are growing in their communities, becoming wise, becoming pillars of their community, becoming women that other women can look to and get support from. That's what I mean when I mean big womaning. And who am I? Like, who is it talking to you? Who can you hear? Who can you see? My name is Jordan. I go by Jordan Speaks on social media. And this is going to be where I plug all of the social media handles, okay? So follow me. Follow me at Jordan Speaks on Instagram. Follow me on Jordan Speaks on TikTok as well. And you will get, all of my content. And also reminders of when these episodes come out, okay? But I'm so happy to have you here. This is episode 5. Look at me being consistent. Whew, I'm proud of myself. Episode 5. Subscribe to the podcast on YouTube and on Spotify. I haven't sorted out the other platforms yet. Just bear with me, guys. It's been a wild week. Bear with me. But we will get there one day. So YouTube and Spotify for now. But cool, let's get into this week's episode. So you guys already know that I love Am I the Arsehole? Am I the Arsehole is I don't know, it's a gift that keeps on giving. I think I said it in episode 2 or 3. I love it. I love the fact that people just write up these scenarios. I mean, obviously it's their lives and we're helping, but it's so interesting. It's so interesting. So every week I come to you with a Am I the Arsehole scenario. We'll discuss it. When I say we discuss it, I mean I discuss it. And you guys already know, if you've listened to the other episodes, I get into these because I just think they're great. Okay, hold on. Because obviously I'm not enjoying other people's distress, but I think they're great in helping us reflect on our lives. So I'll give a little bit of commentary, I will read, and I will cast my vote at the end as to what I think about the podcast, about the scenario. Okay, and in the comments, let me know what you guys think, because anyway, I'm rambling. Let me just get into it. So, I found a good one. My 23M parents, 46. Oh, so the person is 23 male. His parents are 46 male, 44 female. Had a DNA test on my eldest daughter. Do you see what I mean? Do you see what I mean? Am I the arseholes? It's just a gift that keeps on giving, because what? Let's go on. My wife, I hope this person has used fake names, I hope this person has used fake names. I'm going to read it as he's written it, because there's names in this. So hopefully they're fake and they're anonymous or whatever. But anyway, my wife, Jane, 22 female, and I have 2 children. Our oldest child, Melissa, is 4. Her conception was under horrible circumstances. Okay. We decided to keep her regardless and didn't test. Obviously, okay. All right. That sounds like it was incredibly difficult, but okay. Obviously, I didn't explain everything to my parents, and Melissa's my daughter no matter what. Cool. So he hasn't got an issue. There clearly was something that happened around the time of conception of Melissa, but my guy is there. He's there for his wife. He's there for Melissa. No issue from his perspective. Cool. Unfortunately, as she's gotten older, she doesn't take after my side. And my parents, especially my father, did not like this. She looks like Jane's side, so I've always told him that. Okay, I mean, it's not every child that you have that will take after your side of the family, so even if she's mine biologically, she could look the same, even if less likely. But he thinks it's unnatural for her not to look like me at all, even if it's possible anyway. There are some children who's that? There's an actress. I cannot remember her name. You guys help me. Her daughter looks like it's as if she cloned herself and just quietly carried on about her life and told us all she had a baby with somebody, because that man did not contribute not one piece of genes to this child. The child looks just like her. Who is she? I cannot remember her name. And she recently married a woman who has got really amazing energy, but I cannot remember for the life of me. But honestly, the actress and her daughter, side by side, twins. But for some reason, the grandfather in this scenario doesn't think that you can have a child that will look just different to you. Anyway, he's never said it to our kids, and I thought he had dropped it. But last month, he decided to do a DNA test. I assume they need parent consent, so he must have done something sketchy for it. This granddad's doing the most. This guy's doing the most. If your son hasn't got an issue with his children looking like him or not looking like him, would you go and do a DNA test? I think this granddad's doing the most, but okay. I've told him that if she somehow wasn't mine by blood, I know about her birth and she was still my daughter either way. But he was trying to prove that Jane was a whore and I was being manipulated. Oh my God. Hold on. Poor Jane. Because it's very clear that the conception of Melissa was a difficult circumstance. So for your in-law to think you're a whore, and he's literally written whore, that's wild. Poor Jane. Okay. I tried to end all of this, but in the end, Jane admitted everything. To be clear, I did not want or encourage her to do this. At this point, I was saying we should cut them off if they keep this up. She naively thought it would help. Obviously, my parents don't believe it and butting to help me, but they're ignoring everything I'm saying at every step. Hold on, that didn't make sense to me. Hold on. Oh, so basically he's told his wife about what the grandparents are doing. Fine. And she's not happy. And the parents are saying we're trying to help him, but it doesn't seem like they are. But they're ignoring everything I'm saying is what the guy is saying. At this point, I'm starting to think I want to cut contact, but Jane feels guilty for causing all this even though it's not her fault. They're the only grandparents our children will have. But I feel it's not worth it to put up with this. Is it just an overreaction? What would be a better approach? If so, how can I make them understand I'm not being manipulated? This is so tough. And you know what? Whoever this guy is who's written this, I rate him highly because he is standing by his wife 10 toes down. 10 toes down. He is supporting her and he is literally respecting her at every step and every decision that he makes, because clearly he's not trying to linger on what's happened to the wife that's caused her to conceive this child. So he's trying to move forward. He's trying to keep it between him and the wife. He's not trying to explain anything to his parents. He's protecting his wife at all costs. And his parents clearly are hung up on the fact that this child does not look as much like their son as they would want the child to. Would we cut the grandparents off? I think if they continue to disrespect their son and they continue to push this as an issue, I think you're left with little choice but to cut the grandparents off, because they're not respecting the situation. You need to respect the situation. These are your grandkids, so you have to respect the views of your son and of his wife. And if it's that they want to drop this whole scenario or whatever that has been created around this child, then so be it. You need to grin and bear it. And now I'm also worried because there's 2 children, right? So the oldest child is only 4 years old, so the youngest child is probably a bit younger. I wonder if they're going to start treating the youngest child differently to the oldest child, especially if that youngest child looks like the son. That would cause me major issues, and actually, again, more reason as to why you need to cut these grandparents off. His question is, how can I make them understand I'm not being manipulated? The thing is, it's not even about manipulation at this point. It's about your parents being able to respect your views. When you said to them, drop this now, I'm happy, my children are my children, my wife doesn't want to keep on going through this is done now. The parents should respect that it is done, but clearly they're not. And if they don't, then that is grounds for them to cut off. This was posted on Am I the Arsehole like 4 days ago, and I'm recording on a Tuesday because I drop episodes every Wednesday, guys. So make sure you subscribe, because every Wednesday there'll be a new episode from me, because I'm being consistent. And I think most people are voting to say that the parents need to be cut off, I believe, but that might all change. It's getting a little bit popular on here right now, so we'll see where this goes to. But my view, if they continue to act up, if they continue to not listen to the son and his wife, then there's no other option. What can you do? They'll have to go. So this week's Big Women's Chat, because every week we have a Big Women's Chat about what's been going on, almost like we're sitting around the kitchen table having a chat. We have to talk about the Cassie and Diddy lawsuit. Okay, so instead of me rambling on, I found an article from the New York Times about what has happened. And then I'll get into my spiel, because this last few weeks, actually, I think last week I was talking about Keke Palmer and her, what did she do? She filed for a restraining order. This week we're talking about Cassie and Diddy. I don't know what's going to happen next week. It's been a difficult week. It's been a difficult few weeks talking about sexual, trigger warning. We're talking about domestic abuse, talking about sexual assault, talking about, let's get into this. I won't go into all the details, because by now, unless you've been living under a rock, you probably heard some of the allegations, but I'll just go through this article from the New York Times. So Cassie settles lawsuit accusing Sean Combs of rape and abuse. I forget his name. This man has had names. This man has been Puff Daddy, P Diddy, Diddy Puff, Love, Combs, Sean Combs. This man has, if there's one thing we know this man does, is change his name. So I wouldn't even be surprised now after all of this if he comes and changes his name again. But anyway, I digress. So the R&B singer Cassandra Ventura and the music mogul did not disclose terms of the settlement, which came one day after Cassie filed an explosive complaint. All right. Sean Combs and the singer Cassie have reached a settlement just one day after she filed an explosive lawsuit accusing the hip-hop mogul of rape and numerous instances of physical abuse. Let me just go, the article doesn't actually explain what she was saying. Well, let me give a bit more detail. Cassie was talking about being drugged, being trafficked, being filmed, a lot of emotional abuse. She spoke about Kid Cudi's car being blown up by Diddy, which I thought was just an extra layer of craziness. It's also come out an allegation that Diddy also held a very famous rapper over a balcony, like some sort of gangster Al Capone movie. She spoke about physical abuse and having to go and recover him paying for her to recover in hotel rooms. As the article says, explosive lawsuit, absolutely. So Cassie's people are saying, I have decided to resolve this matter amicably on terms that I have some level of control. Cassie, whose full name is Cassandra Ventura, said in the statement, I want to thank my family, fans and lawyers for their unwavering support. In a statement by Combs, Diddy Daddy Diddy, Puff Daddy, whatever. We have decided to resolve this matter amicably. I wish Cassie and her family all the best. Love. So this is what the article says. For Mr. Combs, the settlement quickly shuts down what could have been a risky and potentially embarrassing process of legal discovery in which reams of evidence are made public and a possible trial. And Miss Ventura, who has already aired her accusations through a public complaint, avoids a cross-examination by Mr. Combs' attorney. In a lawsuit that drew international attention, Miss Ventura, who was signed to Diddy's label in 2005 when she was 19, and dated him for about a decade, accused Mr. Combs of what she had said for years of beating, controlling behaviour and various forms of sexual abuse, including rape. In response, a lawyer of Mr. Combs said, Mr. Combs vehemently denies these offensive and outrageous allegations. Okay, that's that. Now, again, the allegations are harrowing. Allegations are absolutely harrowing. But just talking about this settlement, so obviously, I go on social media, I see that the day after Cassie has made this complaint public, there's a settlement. I think it's maybe the fastest settlement I've ever heard of. Sometimes you hear things kind of dragging on for a few weeks and months, and then quietly there's a settlement. For this settlement to come about hours later says a lot. But there was divided opinion. So there's almost one camp on the socials saying, well, Cassie just wanted money, and she got her money. So almost disappointed that there had been a settlement so quickly. And then there was this other camp on social media who were basically saying, well, ultimately, we know how women, victims of sexual abuse, of domestic abuse are treated in the court system. We know how difficult it is for there to be convictions. We also know that P. Diddy, as he's currently going by, is a rich man with access to a lot of resources. Cassie has made a decision in her best interest. And I am in that camp. Cassie has made a decision for herself in her best interest. And as this article says, settling this quickly benefits both of them. Why I think Cassie absolutely made the right decision is because, one, her public complaint is public. So now everybody knows what her allegations are. Whether you want to believe them or not, the allegations are now known. And also it gives a layer, I think I tweeted this, it gives a layer of protection to her, because if anything now were to happen to Cassie, I'm not even suggesting what could happen, but if anything now were to happen to Cassie, all eyes would be on Diddy, because she's alleged that you've held someone over a balcony. She's alleged that you've blown up someone's car. And I think that was even confirmed by Kid Cudi, who was like, he blew up my car. So there's evidence to suggest that your behavior has been dangerous. So now that this is all in the public, it's almost a layer of protection for Cassie. So she can take her money without having to go and go to court and be in front of the cameras and have her life pulled apart. I think she got married, and even the way her relationship ended with Diddy, and she was with her trainer and she was gone. Cassie was gone. 10 years in the spotlight with Diddy, relationship ended. It's almost as if she escaped, like she fled, because I have never seen someone go from being in the spotlight to just with their husband, had a child, got married, sat down, no one's heard from Cassie for a few years, no songs, no albums, maybe she has released some songs, I don't know. If you have Cassie, I'm sorry. But none of that, quietly living her life, and then has now come and made these allegations. It says to me, fled and went and got some therapy and now feels like she's able to talk about her experiences. That's what it says to me. other people may have a different view about that. But I think she made the right decision. And it also benefits P. Diddy. It benefits him that all of the allegations are not going to be explored in more detail in this court hearing, which may have, because it probably would have been contested. So there would have been evidence that needed to be given. There would have been witnesses. It would have been a whole circus. And it says to me that there are clearly some pieces of information that P. Diddy would rather remain private. Hence why his solicitors and lawyers sprinted, Usain Bolted to go and get this settlement sorted, because this is the fastest settlement ever. So that's the one thing. So that's P. Diddy and Cassie. Then there were just all these rumblings about other people making allegations against some very well-known celebrity men. So I was thinking, what's going on? Like, is there something happening which is causing people to make these allegations? Have like at this time, you know, has Cassie opened a door? Has Cassie opened a door for this to happen? Then I found out, I was reading and I heard about the New York Adult Survivors Act, which basically the deadline of this act was fast approaching. So I found another article. This is in the Independent. And it says, for a year, New York's Adult Survivors Act gave adults claiming that they had been sexually assaulted a chance to file civil lawsuits, no matter how long the assault occurred. So you have, I think it's called the statute of limitations. So there's usually a time period where you have to make you have to file your lawsuit in. You have to raise your concerns and file a lawsuit in this the statute of limitations, and if it goes past that time, you are unable to file the lawsuit. But this Adult Survivors Act allows people to file their lawsuit regardless of the time in which the alleged assault happened, which is why we also saw all of these stories and allegations coming out around this time, right? And the list of people, I mean, I will just run through a list of people who have been, who allegations have been made against, because I was just shocked. Well, was I? Shocked-ish. But Donald Trump, Sean Diddy Combs, Harvey Weinstein, Jamie Foxx, Steven Tyler, Bill Cosby, Russell Brand, L.A. Reid, Axl Rose, Mike Tyson, Andrew Cuomo's very American people, and Rudy Giuliani. I didn't know that. The former mayor of New York City and personal attorney for Trump is being sued by a woman who says he coerced her into sexual activity while she did work off the books for him. I didn't know that. I didn't read this article before today's episode, obviously. But I mean, we just must have a conversation. Obviously, these allegations are being tried and will go where they go. Who knows? This article is from 16 hours ago, so who knows where those allegations are going to go. But we must talk about just the prevalence of sexual assault. It's just so common. It's just so prevalent. It's just all around us. And I think I was saying in last week's episode about domestic abuse, the same thing. It's all around us, and it's very scary. It's shocking, actually, how common it is. The fact that that they needed to have this New York's Adult Survivors Act says a lot. And I'm really pleased that they opened it up to give no time frame, because why should there be a time frame as to when you feel ready to report your trauma to another person? Do you know what I mean? Like, what this is not the podcast for this. This is not the episode for this. But there needs to be work done around, or an exploration done about, or a study or a PhD. Anybody who's out there in the academia world, please, about men with power and the correlation with sexual assault of women, because It's just too much. And it's historical, right? So we can talk about like Henry VIII and his treatment of women. We can talk about all sorts of historical figures and their treatment of women. It's just too much. We need to figure out this correlation, and we need to figure out how we can protect women in our society, because this list was not even a full list, and look how many people are already on that list. We know that sexual assault is on the rise. We know that it's incredibly hard to convict for sexual assault and for rape. We know this because there are so many cases going unreported and not being when they are reported, convictions are not being given. It's a problem. It is a serious societal problem that we have. But I am sending all the best to Cassie and her family. I think her husband, I was reading that he like ran for survivors of ran a race, a marathon for survivors of domestic abuse. Like, he seems like they're a unit. It seems like he's supporting her through this. I'm hoping she finds some happiness and joy after what she has alleged she went through during her 10-year relationship with Diddy. Goodness. So each week I give you a quote from a big woman, because I think that big women learn very well from other big women's experiences and just general wiseness. So each week I give you a quote. Is wiseness a word? Wisdom from a big woman's wisdom. Oh God, you know it's late in the day. You know it's late, innit? So this week I felt like I had to give a quote from Cassie. Cassie's got some very well-known singles, tunes. The thing is, I just feel like, I don't know, where would Cassie have been if she wasn't in that relationship with Diddy? We don't know. She was responsible for some bangers, and also responsible for people shaving off part of their hair. Do you remember when everyone had their hair shaved? Yeah, that was Cassie. Big influence, I would say. And it's a shame what she's had to share about her experiences now. But let me give you a quote about what she says. And she says, "There's a fine line between saying, 'You can't tell me what I can and can't do,' and taking on board people's opinions." And that's from Cassandra Ventura, aka Cassie. And you know what? She's right. She's 100% right. There's a fine line between saying, "You can't tell me what I can and can't do," and taking on people's opinions, because at the end of the day, you have to make your own decisions. You can take advice, guidance, you can take support, you can take encouragement, motivation, but at the end of the day, you must make your own decisions and be comfortable. Because also sometimes people make decisions and they're like, "Oh, I didn't want to make that decision." Like, you made... No, if you made it, then you must feel comfortable and sit with the decision that you've made and take responsibility for that. Yeah, so Cassie, she's right. So thanks for that quote, Cassie. And let's just hope in the future Cassie is making more inspirational and motivational quotes, because she has healed from this experience that she's had, and she's out here living her life on her terms. Well, guys, that is it for this week's episode, for episode 5. Episode 5 already. I cannot even believe that we are here and that you guys have been here with me. If you haven't already gone and listened to my last 4 episodes, please do, because I know that I tend to like refer to previous episodes in my episodes. So please check them out. Please subscribe to my podcast, the Big Womening Podcast, on YouTube, and you can follow the podcast also on Spotify. I'm working on the other channels. I'm working on them. And follow me at Jordan Speaks, and that's on Instagram and on TikTok. Those are mainly where you'll find me. Let me know if you agree with my assessment of the "Am I the Arsehole" topic. What a good husband supporting his wife. Yes, we need more of this. You clearly know where I lie on that scenario. But yeah, follow, and I really hope to see you guys for episode 6, which will be released next week, Wednesday. So thanks for tuning in. Have a great week. I shall see you next week, and I'm out.